Today I'm going to review the Mcintosh MC611 power amplifier, and it's a truly shocking review. Let's get started. In the Mcintosh spectrum, the monoblocks are usually at the upper end. The MC611 is no exception. Let's get started with the ASSS score. Enjoy. But before we get started, let me tell you where I am right now. I'm currently at Hi-Fi Audio in Düsseldorf. If you ever have the chance to check out hi-fi audio equipment in the Düsseldorf area, please feel free to check out Hi-Fi Audio or visit their website hifireview.de. If you are like me and you're really interested in all this high-end stuff, please also check out my website audioscaleurs.com or subscribe to my channel. Like all my other videos, this video is quite simple. First, I'm going to give the MC611 a side score, then I'm going to give it a sound score, and then I'm going to give it an audio score, my personal audio score. The first category under sight is convenience, and the MC611s are heavy. Coming in at more than 100 pounds, you don't want to move them around in your house, and you shouldn't. On the other hand, it is quite convenient, very simple to use. You have 2 ohm taps, 4 ohm taps, and 8 ohm taps, which makes it very versatile, and you can connect it to almost any speaker. Also, the MC611 is kind of easy to use because of the simple design. You only have 2 knobs. You can turn the LEDs on and off, and you can turn the device on and off. Or you can have the power control triggered through a Mcintosh preamplifier. Overall, I'm giving the MC611 a 3 out of 10 for convenience. When it comes to looks and styling, the MC611 monoblock is an eye-catcher in every music system. Or more. It is an eye-catcher in any room. The Mcintosh DNA comes through, and the typical Mcintosh identifiers stand out strong in the Mcintosh MC611. I personally love them, and the 611 is as classy Mcintosh as it gets. The wonderful blue meters with the illuminated green logos and the metal bars and handles are beautiful for me. Also, you find the Mcintosh logo incorporated at the top of the device, which gives it a 2020 Mcintosh trademark look. Overall, the 611s come in at 9 out of 10 for looks and styling. Next up is build quality, and the MC611 is built like a tank. I think build quality for this generation of Mcintosh devices has improved significantly over the last generation. And even the last generation received an 8 out of 10 for build quality on the Audioscore. Therefore, I'm giving the MC611 a 9 out of 10, because it is just that little bit better than the last generation, but still not perfect. Overall, nothing to complain about, especially with the gold-plated terminals at the back. Next up are the features, and the MC611 scores great. This is due to all the Mcintosh technology that is incorporated in this device, like thermal track, the autoformers, and especially PowerGuard. And please, look at those accurate blue meters. Therefore, I'm giving the MC611 monoblock power amplifier an 8 out of 10 for features. Summing up the side score, the Mcintosh MC611 comes in at 29 out of 40 points. Why? Well, look at it. It is beautiful with this LED backlit display, with these beautiful meters, with these metal bars and the overall build quality. It is built like a tank, and it should last a lifetime. Therefore, a very well-deserved score for the Mcintosh MC611 in the side category. But let's move over to sound, which for me is even more important than these amazing looks. The first category under sound is audio excellence and specifications, and this is a top-of-the-line Mcintosh monoblock power amplifier. So what to expect? A lot. And the Mcintosh doesn't disappoint. At a signal-to-noise ratio of 124 dB, 600 watts continuous power output, at 0.005% total harmonic distortion. It's a typical Mcintosh powerhouse, and it earns a strong 9 out of 10 for audio excellence and specifications. The next category under sound is detail. And this was another tough one for me, because especially in comparison to the 452 or any other high-end Mcintosh products, the MC611 doesn't have more detail than those, but it shows it in a different way. Especially when listening to Contaminated by Banks, which I think is a great track. The MC611 starts to build this holographic 3D sound that doesn't lose any detail. But what it does is it kind of puts a lens on certain instruments and on certain sounds to highlight them without being annoying. And I found this to be extremely pleasing to listen to. Therefore, I'm giving the MC611 an 8 out of 10 for detail. Another big one for this review is imaging and the soundstage. I compared the 611s in depth against the MC452. And the 452 creates this wide, high, but also still very focused soundstage, which I really, really like. And the 611 does exactly the same. Where's the difference? Well, there's a huge difference. The 611 creates a kind of vertical depth. You kind of hear what's coming in the next seconds, in the next 2 seconds, and that creates a very calm atmosphere, knowing how the sound is building up. The 452 simply cannot do that. It doesn't control the music in the same way the 611 can. And that really shows in the imaging of the music. Therefore, I'm giving the 611 a 9 out of 10 for imaging. Imaging was a tough one, because I think imaging in combination with the lens for the detail are the strongest points of the 611, especially comparing it to other high-end devices. But let's talk about bass performance. Bass performance for me is very important, but I didn't hear that much of a difference between the 611s and the 452, for example. I also didn't crank it up to extreme levels this time, so there might be some sort of difference, let's say above 400 or 500 watts in certain scenarios. Therefore, I think the 611 scores almost perfectly in bass, and I give it a 9 out of 10. Next up is synergy, and the MC611 can be integrated into almost any stereo or home theater setup, and they will draw and expose the best out of every system, because those will not be the limiting factors. When we compared the MC611s with the C53 versus the C1100, you can really hear a difference, and that's the problem. If you're getting these kinds of amps, better make sure that you have the right speakers, and better make sure that you have the right sources. Then you are in audiophile heaven. Therefore, for synergy, I'm giving the 611 a 9 out of 10. The MC611s come in at 44 out of 50 for sound. Last but not least, let's talk about value. And we're talking about value for 2 monoblocks that cost around 22,000 euros here in Germany. So it is not an easy thing to do. However, I think that the MC611s are great power amplifiers. They are well built, they should last a lifetime, and they sound tremendous. That would be a 5 out of 10. However, since they're also extremely versatile, they can drive almost any speaker, and they really bring out the best of your system. And they truly shocked me in their presentation, especially in comparison to a device which is only one generation older, such as the 452 or the 601s. Therefore, I'm giving the MC611s, although at 22,000 euros, a 6 out of 10 for value. Add it all up, and the ASSS score for the MC611s come in at 79 out of 100 points, which is huge. If you ever listened to a Mcintosh power amplifier in the last 20, 30, 40 years, and you were not fully convinced, take another listen. Listen to the MC611s or any of their newest devices, and you might be surprised. They might still look very similar to the devices of the last decade from the outside, but they sound so much better. There is so much control. There is so much accuracy. Give it a try.